Let's do the welcome.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. Welcome to Advocacy Days 2024. Our topic today, how do we make our communities welcoming? My name's Tanika Aiden. I am one of your co-hosts for the day. I am an African-American woman. My hair is in a fro. My background is blurred. My hair is getting blurred too because the camera's having fun with my fro. I'm wearing a red top because I'm feeling Valentine Day-ish, and I have on some glasses with a blurred background. Thank you for joining me. I work for PAVE. I come to you from Pierce County down in DuPont, and I am the mom of a 10-year-old who is on the spectrum. And joining me today is my co-host, Taylor. How are you today on this Valentine's Day, Taylor?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Tanika. Happy Valentine's Day to you as well and everyone else, or as I call it, Love Day. Hi, everyone. For those who don't know me, I am Taylor Crisp. My pronouns are she, her. I have autism as well as other intellectual disabilities, and I'm also a parent of a kiddo who's got intellectual and developmental disabilities. My background is blurred. My hair is braided and pulled back, and I'm wearing a burnt orange top. And I am happy to be here with you all today. And we're gonna kick things off here with Kathy Murahashi to go over the topic. And it sounds like Erin Dickinson is from CEA is going to be joining us as well. So. And also, if you can introduce yourself in the chat and your legislative districts, and yeah.
That's great. So I actually think that we have Representative Lowe here already. Is he here?
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
That's great. So we're going to skip the overview. We'll do it after when we'll let you go first because we know your time is really important.
Well, good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm just getting over a cold, so it might be a little difficult to hear me today, and I apologize for that. But thank you for having me. I'm Sam Lowe. I represent District 39, which is East Snohomish County and East Skagit counties. And I live in Lake Stevens, which is the largest city in the 39th district. And I've worked very closely with Sherwood Community Services over the years that I've represented Lake Stevens. So it's great to be here today. It's great to do supported employment for people with intellectual disabilities. And so I've just enjoyed working closely with this community. So clearly, we have some things we need to overcome at a state level. We don't fund this area very well in the state government. Basically, we funded at about 75% of where it should be. And so we need to work harder to develop that, work harder to make sure that we're not losing any more providers and any more people that are helping us move the ball forward in this area. My experience with supported employment has been great through the Sherwood Community Services. They've taken me out to several projects. This last year, I went out to Home Depot in Marysville and got to meet a young man there who's doing a great job and working hard in the community. And I've toured several other places where we have supported employment going on. So that's kind of what I've been working on and working closely with. As you know, Washington State is an employment first state, which means people with disabilities try employment first, which I think is a great thing. We all know that somebody having a job will change their life, whether it's just a few hours a week, can immensely help so much in these areas. And I just want to thank everybody that's online today. We have people from all across Washington State, and your advocacy with the state legislature really matters. Your representatives need to hear from you. An email works. Just keeping touch with your legislators on issues in your communities really goes a long way. So I don't have a lot more to say than that. I mean, I'm happy to take a few questions if you'd like. As I said, I'm a little under the weather today, so my mind's a little foggy. But again, thank you everybody for being on today.
Are there any questions? The representative? I think everybody's a little quiet today.
Totally fine.
That's great. Well, we sure appreciate you being with us today and all the work you're doing to support people with IDD. It's greatly appreciated, and thank you for your time as well. So, and I hope you feel better soon.
Well, thank you, and I hope so too. There's a lot of unfinished work here in Olympia that we need to take care of in the next 3 weeks.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rep. Lowe. Thank you for taking your time to be with us, and we appreciate you. And there is some, even though it's quiet, there is some love in the chat for you. So I hope you see the appreciation we have for you being here with us today. Thank you so much for your time, with it being a busy, short session.
Okay, so I am going to share my screen again. There we go. Are you all seeing it? The screen? Perfect. Okay. And I've got to do one more setting here. Okay. So today's topic is engaging our communities. How do we make our communities welcoming? So we think that it's really important. Our folks, people with developmental disabilities in the past have often been excluded and segregated in the general community. And that's been a real problem, that they haven't been welcomed. But really what they want is just what everybody else in the world wants. A place to live, meaningful things to do, work so that they can pay for the things that they want to do. And we know that, oftentimes those opportunities have not been welcoming, and people end up being lonely and isolated. So we think that there's, we need to be welcoming. We need places that are welcoming spaces, and some of the things that we need are places that are accessible and accommodating so they can participate. The opportunity to choose what you want to do, and who you want to do it with. And sometimes people need support to do this. And support might mean money to be able to do the activity. But it also might mean a person to give you support to do the activity, or help you plan for it, or to facilitate your interactions with others, or just someone to say, hey, you're welcome here. So having welcoming spaces is really important. Having welcoming workplaces, having employers that are willing to give people with disabilities a chance to show their capabilities and the value they bring to the workplace, and to have the opportunity to do meaningful work at real wages. Having a job provides both something to do and money to do the things you want to do. And it just improves the quality of life for everybody. I always say the employment is the only service where the investment in it gives a person more. And when you're working, you have more money, which gives you more opportunity. So we need to make sure that our employment networks are strong, so people have the supports they need to succeed. And then we need welcoming ways to get around, because it's pretty difficult when you don't drive to get to places. And we need to make sure that those things are accessible and, really important, reliable. And we need those kind of transportation so that we can get where we want to go and when we need to get there. And we know there's a lot of barriers in our communities that present challenges for people to live their best life. So we just want our communities to be more welcoming. Okay. All righty. So I'm going to stop sharing for a minute, and then let's see. I think we have Aaron, are you on board?
Yes, can you hear me?
I am.
Great. So we are here at Morningside in Olympia with a room full of, I don't know how many people. And it's good to be here. Thanks for introducing us. And I will just reiterate everything that you just said about the importance of employment and the importance of having things to do during the day for people. And I think the thing that came to mind when you were talking about that is we talk a lot about the benefit to each individual person who's receiving supported employment services, which is extremely important, of course. And the other side that I don't hear talked about as often is the benefit to the community of having people with disabilities in our communities. And just with thinking about how I grew up and where I grew up, I did not have any exposure to people with disabilities in my community or in my school or in a lot of the workplaces that I had when I was younger. And I see that as harmful to me. And that's something that I really want to change. In my time as a job coach, I got to see how much a workplace can change, bringing in someone with a disability to work in that workplace. And I think one of my favorite stories, very short stories that I'll share, I worked at this, or I was supporting someone who worked at this factory up near Bellingham where I live. And when we first got started, there was someone in upper level management who had previously worked at a job coaching agency years and years before, who was kind of the instigator to get this going. And the rest of the upper level management was not very open to the idea at first and needed convincing. And so, we had some meetings with them and kind of talked it out. And, this person started working there, and very quickly, just the connections this person made with their coworkers were so profound, so deep. And this workplace did such a good job of including this person, on the assembly line with everyone else doing the same work in the same way as everyone else. And, they made sure to include him in, the work potlucks, and, they had an outing to the casino together that he went to. And probably 6 months in, I met with the manager. And he said, I was nervous about this at first and didn't know if this was a good idea. And I'm so glad we did this because all of our other workers are acting more human now. And to me, that's the meaning of employment, is that there is something missing in our communities when folks with disabilities are hidden away from everyone else. And so I am really glad to be here to support that mission. And with that being said, if it's good with you, Kathy, I will hand it over to Ivanova Smith, who is going to be reading our proclamation from Governor Jay Inslee. So today is officially Employment for All Day, and take it away, Ivanova.
Well, thank you very much. Can everyone hear me? Okay. So this is the proclamation from the governor. Whereas the state of Washington has a long history of leadership in protecting and promoting equal opportunity for people who have disabilities. And whereas individuals with disabilities continue to experience unemployment and poverty at rates substantially higher than those without disabilities. Whereas Washington State Employment First Law recognizes that all individuals, regardless of their disability, will be afforded an opportunity to pursue competitive employment. Whereas Washington is recognized nationally for its excellence and success in providing supported employment services to people with disabilities. And whereas employees with disabilities require assistance to ensure job success and should have access to support necessary in succeeding in the workplace. Now, therefore, I, Jay Inslee, Governor of the State of Washington, do hereby proclaim February 14, 2014 as Employment for All Day in Washington, and I urge all people in our state to join me in this special observance. Signed this 15th day of January 2024. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ivanova, for reading the governor's proclamation. And thank you to Aaron. Shout out to CEA who are having their advocacy day. Thank you for joining us for Morningside down there in Olympia while you go out and advocate in person later. So thank you for being here all. And I see we have a question. Margaret Lee, did you have a question?
You know, I just want to make a really quick statement because I'm in my 70s. And I want you to know that when Dan, our son Dan, was born, I had never known a person with Down syndrome. I lived in big cities in Southern California. I had never even seen a person with Down syndrome. Things have changed and it's changed for the better. And I just wanted you to know how important it has been to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret Lee.
I also wanted to call out that People First of Snohomish County also has a viewing party going on. Is that right?
Woohoo! Welcome.
Welcome. Thanks for being here. Yeah, so we got two big viewing parties.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us today. All right. Do we have any more questions? I can only see a little bit of my screen. Antonio, go ahead. You got a question?
Yes, I have a question. Why does people are having wheelchairs? Because it's not a funny joke. I have a question. Why does people they're having wheelchairs? It's from the DART, DART. The DART is from the wheelchairs. It's to provide an assistant by taking them to buses. This is seriously. When you're an assistant, they need like an assistant. They're taking them to buses, like 101, Ever Transit, Swift buses, medium buses, small buses. It's to be responsibility, like respectful, like manners, and it's to become like what do you call it? Respectfully. My teacher, Mr. McAllister, she told me, Antonio, you have an appointment to the DART. And she told me everything. That is DART, D-A-R-T. That is DART. They're having like one of those cards. I don't have a card.
You need one. Transportation is a huge thing and making sure that you have it's reliable and accessible and works for everybody. Aaron, did you have were you going to say some more, Aaron, before we go forward?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. Am I good? So I have a few more people to introduce if that works for you, Kathy.
Yes, please.
Okay, great. So next up, we have Cheryl Monk, who has a video for us, and she is a community inclusion specialist with SCAC, and hopefully someone over there. Oh, perfect. Great. So we'll watch the video now. Thanks.
It's great. Okay, I've got to see if this. Can you see? Okay, can you see that? Is it full screen?
Not full screen, Kath, but we can see it.
It's not full screen. Okay, hold on. Stop. I've got to stop.
Looks like a PowerPoint with notes, kind of.
Like the presenter view.
It's the presenter view. Hold on. Okay.
There we go. That's good.
Here we go. Here we go.
Woo, Cheryl.
My name is Cheryl Monk, and I work for SCAC Employment Services in Kent, Washington. I work as a community inclusion specialist. I wonder if this has ever happened to you. There's a class or a hobby or an activity you want to try, so you arrive just before it starts. As you look in the doorway, you see people, and they all seem to know what they're doing. Except for you. You feel alone and not knowing what to do. There's a chance you may not speak to anyone at all. For me, when I was younger, this happened to me all the time. I might go to an activity time after time after time and never get the courage to speak to anybody. It was like I was looking into life instead of being a part of the action. If CI, Community Inclusion Specialist, wasn't there for people with disabilities, they might bring their direct support staff. Now, direct support staff is used to taking care of everything for the person with a disability. Sometimes they can really be a barrier because they're busy doing everything for the person, and the person doesn't have the opportunity to reach out to the other people in the activity and ask for their help, and thus get a chance to get to know them. Being a community inclusion specialist is a bit like being a concierge. That's a person in a hotel who often has their own desk, and they can help you with tickets or places to go or parks around the area. What we do as being a community inclusion specialist, we can help you with social norms and to see social cues, or simply find your way around. The specialist helps make introductions for all and around, and may adapt a tool for the person with a disability to use as in that particular activity. Or even where to throw something away, because it can be so confusing these days. We also are a bridge between people we support who may not use speaking as their first mode of communication. We work towards independence, opening up opportunities for others in the activity to come and help the person with a disability. So sometimes we'll hang back and let others come in and help. We call that natural supports. The goals are strong connections, friendships, and the ability to keep fading into the background towards independence and full inclusion. Thank you for the opportunity to share about the work that I love so much.
Thank you, Cheryl. We've got Cheryl in the room with us here, so just thank you. That was really wonderful. Okay, so next we have Susanna Rodriguez from Cascade Connections, who is a recipient of Community Inclusion Services, who is going to talk about her experience with that. And just a quick shout out, because that's my neck of the woods up in Bellingham. So are you on there, Susanna?
All right, Susanna's here. You got this, I promise.
Thanks for being here, Susanna. I know you're nervous. It's okay.
Everybody wants to hear what you gotta say. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm so nervous. Just calm down.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
I'm nervous.
What's your name?
Oh, calm down. Calm down.
Okay. What's your name?
Susanna Rodriguez. Hey, Aaron. Oh,
Hi, Savannah.
hello,
Good to see
buddy.
you. Going well. Glad you're here.
I'm nervous, Aaron.
Yeah, I know. I am too.
Um,
You got this, girl.
what? I got this?
You got it.
You've got it.
Got it.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, bud. Okay, I'm ready.
Cool.
I'm ready, Aaron. What? Where'd they go?
They're here.
Here.
We're here.
Oh,
You can go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay,
I'm ready, buddy. I'm ready, Aaron.
I'll ask the question. So, Susanna, what do you do for community inclusion?
Okay, I work for Habitat for Humanity. I've been working here for 7 years. I price and put labels on things that are donated. And I'm good at it.
And Susanna, what do you like about what you do?
I like people, and my bosses have 4 bosses. They treat me like I belong, and I do belong. I love seeing customers. For my last anniversary, they threw me a party. They gave me a card and name tag and cupcakes. This is my this is my job, and the coolest job, and it's the coolest job I've ever had. My coworkers support me, and want me here. I, I feel like Habitat for Humanity is my family.
And Susanna, do you have anyone that you enjoy seeing in the community when you're out?
My bosses are and my coworkers. They're really nice. They're really nice. Cooper, Finn, Gage, Kelly, Araya, Zachariah, Cody, and Fiona.
You work with a lot of great people, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And do you have any goals for what else you want to do in community inclusion?
Work here forever. I never want to stop working. I just keep going and going until I'm old. Until I'm old. How do you do it? How do you do?
You did amazing. Nice job, Savannah.
Oh my God. Thank you.
Say hi to everyone for me, Susanna.
I will, buddy. Okay,
Awesome.
anything for you.
Thank you for sharing your story. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I love hearing it.
Yes, the crowd's going wild out here.
What? I did it.
Okay, well, thank you, Susanna. So we're going to move on to our next speaker. So our next speaker is Alex Mottler, who is going to talk about his experience with having a job. And he's in the room here with us.
I am a person with a disability who didn't fit into the traditional transition program that I was offered. This encouraged me to study social justice in college and become an advocate for people with disabilities who might be left out of the traditional transition program. After having trouble with job coaches who didn't value my writing abilities, I met my current job coach, Debbie. We did an extended community-based assessment where I wrote my story and a position paper on my housing situation. This was successful, and we saw that writing and speaking about my experiences would be central to a future job. The transition program that I was offered after graduating from the regular high school could only think of one job. They evaluated my shredding skills. You try shredding paper with just one finger. I told my job coaches that I wasn't interested in their program and got the agency that I was with to dismiss my case. Fast forward to today, I have my degree in society ethics and human behavior and a job helping people with disabilities in their job search, building skills for job coaches supporting people with more significant disabilities, and advocacy. I often brag about the fact that I trained job coaches for my friends with disabilities so that they have a good understanding of what I do for work. We can't dismiss an individual who might have employable skills, yet might not fit the system that should support them. We need to consider every adult capable of employment and community inclusion. We need to focus our collaborative energy to figure out the important pieces of support people need, like assistive technology and personal care, so they have true opportunities to share their talents and belong.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, and I will say too, I love in your story that you talked about college. That's really cool that you were able to do that. And also, just nice job advocating for yourself. You shouldn't have had to have done that. And that's the goal that we're trying to get to. But in the meantime, nice job. Such a good example. So thank you. So next, we have a couple family stories to share. So first, I'm going to call on Joanne O'Neill and Brendan O'Neill to share your story.
We are unmuted. So yes, I am Joanne O'Neill, and this is my son Brendan, and I'll be speaking for him today. I'm enticing him with some nuts here in his pop, but so Brendan doesn't have a lot of language to be able to share everything. So I wrote it down and I read it to him, and he liked it, I think. So I think some people would have considered him potentially difficult to find a job for or hard to support, but we didn't think so, and neither did Trillium Employment Services. So he's had great support in the mailroom where he works and wonderful support from Trillium. Brendan started work pretty quickly after high school. We didn't have the school to work program in those days. And he has worked at Valley Medical Center delivering mail in his power wheelchair for nearly 30 years. Not very many people work for one company for that long. I had to drive him back and forth to work his first year or so because we couldn't get access. And the closer I'd get to the hospital, the more excited he would get. So I knew how much he wanted to work and how much he loved it. He has several routes on his job, and the placement of the mail is in a different spot at each place. So he has a great memory. That's what really entitles him to do the job. And he has a great smile if he decides to, if that looks like a frown. So everybody talks about that. He is reliable, he's accurate, he gets to work on time if access gets there. He gets great evaluations from his bosses, And he didn't get to work for a period of time during COVID. And the family went down there to get our vaccinations. And we'd run into people there who'd say, when is Brendan coming back to work? It just isn't the same without him. So, and one day I was there at the hospital also. This is what he gets after he goes to work. So I guess he gets his diet soda. So, but I was down at the hospital one day and I saw a contractor there. They're always doing work at the hospital, and he had his hard hat. And he walked by and he says, "Hey, Brendan, how's it going?" Well, he's just a regular guy at work. Even the coffee bar knows his order that he gets after he finishes his job. So it's been a wonderful thing for our family. His sisters looked at Brendan when he got his job, and the expectation was they would get work too. It's hard to condense nearly 30 years at one place in about 3 minutes, but hopefully it gives you an idea. And he does like his pop. So his sister is down there for the rally today with her job coach from Trillium, and she's supported with them through at her job. She did childcare in the initial part, but now she's happily employed at PetSmart, and she loves working with the animals there. So thank you. Smile, Brendan.
Thanks, Brendan. Yay, Brendan.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I had a request to just kind of summarize some of the chat box for the room here, because it's kind of hard to see for us because it's really tiny. But I will say I just see a whole lot of, amazing job, nice job for everyone that has gone so far. Susanna, Alex, Cheryl, just, raving in the chat box. And one that I just want to point out because it's kind of cool is, I can't see who it is, but someone said, as someone with a college degree, I feel there is a low bar set when it comes to disability employment services. And so I just think that's a really cool thing to share. So thank you again for sharing about that, Alex. All right, so the next, one more family story, we have Ella Keys.
Well, hello, everyone. Good to see everybody. Joanne, we go way back, Kathy, and Brendan, of course. I just appreciate all of you and for being here. And I just want to say to the legislators, who has already been there and any more that are coming, to the presenters, advocates, and families, thank you for this opportunity. It's an honor to be asked by Debbie Myers of SCAC Industries and Kathy Murahashi of this King County ARC to present today. I'd like to talk about my son, Algernon Keys, better known as AJ, and his story about the importance of having gainful employment for him and other people with ID and DD. It's now the ARC's mission is promoting and protecting the rights of people with ID and DD, intellectual disabilities and developmental disabilities. Similarly, SCAC's mission is focused on employment of people with ID and DD. And in their collaborative efforts, they allow my son to help build his skills. And I need new glasses, I think, because I skip a line and then I look and see where it was. But they help with my son's self-esteem while he uses his skills as a mail carrier at the finance company and City Hall at Centennial Center in Kent. And with the help of his team, which involves his caregivers, Margaret and Graciela, Tracy, his job coach, and everyone there at the Centennial Center, the finance company, the mail department, City Hall, anybody that comes in contact with him they help AJ to have a successful day. And in the process, he's earning a standard wage. This adds value to him and his community and provides opportunities for the communities to learn and grow together as well. As AJ's mom, it gives me great pleasure to see AJ contented, smiling, able to buy a few things for his needs like pudding, shoes, and other things. He gets real joy out of that. And to know that AJ is up and raring to go every day. So thank you very much. And I think I'm going to take my laptop into the room and hopefully you'll get to see him. He's a great twirler when he's at home. He enjoys his time off, but he loves to go as well. So I'm going to step through here and it's kind of dark and I'm in AJ's room now. And let's see. I don't know if you can see, this is Margaret, his caregiver. And AJ, look. Check it out. AJ. Put twirling thing down. You want to say hi to everybody? You see all these people? You want to wave your wand at them?
Good morning, AJ.
AJ. Hi, AJ.
Hi, AJ.
Hi, AJ. How are you doing,
Hi,
AJ?
AJ.
Hi, AJ. How are you doing, bud?
He touched the button and let's see if I can get us back here. I don't even know. But I'm still here, but I don't see any pictures, so I don't know what he did. There we are. AJ, why did you do that? You're making your mark. There you go, buddy. I'm gonna take the laptop back in there, okay? Because you want to twirl some more. Okay, thank you very much for allowing me to do that.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Alistair. Thanks, AJ.
Thank you so much.
And happy Valentine's Day.
And so our last speaker that we have before we get into bills and budgets and things, we have Jason Peterson from CEA to talk about transportation.
Thanks, Aaron. I remember when I was about 14 or 15 years old, it was just after one of my summer-long stints in Shriners. I had reached that age of sort of enlightenment where I realized through the help of my therapist at Shriners that I was capable of much more than I had thought before that time. So when I got home from the hospital, I told my mom in a very grand fashion, "Mom, I'm moving out." And she sort of smiled and rolled her eyes, something I was not unaccustomed to. So behind the scenes, I worked the rest of my high school career to get myself set up to do just exactly what I promised my mother I was going to do. And so the day after graduation, I graduated on a Saturday. I moved into my first apartment in Spokane that Monday evening, much to the surprise of anybody in Fairfield or my family that knew me. But the point of starting with that little story is one of the primary reasons I moved into Spokane so quickly is the realization that having transportation at my fingertips through the city bus system and the Spokane Paratransit, call and schedule your rides, was the only way I was going to be able to pursue my independence, because living in Fairfield, I was 30 miles away from any sort of city center where I could have easy access to everything. So the bottom line is, even when all other aspects of a person's world are in place for them to pursue the things they want to do, their caregiver, their ancillary supports, whatever they need, transportation is sort of the tie that binds everything together and allows individuals with disabilities, or for that matter, even without disabilities, transportation and the freedom of movement allows people to pursue moving forward in their own lives. I've heard it said many times throughout life that men and women are not islands unto themselves. And I take that to mean that humanity as a whole is a community, and to be a part of that community and to thrive within, you need to be able to move forward, not only intellectually or metaphorically, but you need to be able to move around within that community physically to pursue the things that you want to do. And that's why transportation is, and it's often not thought about until after the fact, but in a real world situation, transportation is the cornerstone building block to the pursuit of greatness for anyone with a disability, so they can move through their community and participate in whatever area or aspect that fulfills them, whether it's working or community inclusion. Your community won't come to you. So you have to have the ability to communicate with the people around you and the people that assist you in doing the things that you love. And in order to do that, you need to be able to go to your community and be a part of that community. Because much as I said a minute ago, no man or woman is an island unto themselves, but without transportation and that freedom of movement, people with disabilities stand a real chance at being marooned on their couches or stuck in their homes or wherever home base is for them, if they don't have a way to access and pursue the things that fulfill them and enrich their lives. And secondarily to that, that enrichment is not just for themselves, as it's been said by many other people in this group and throughout my years of working in the disabled community. having people with disabilities living and working successfully and happily within their communities not only enriches their lives, but that enrichment is exponential in the way it reaches out to the people and world around them. So that's kind of my 2 cents on transportation.
Thank you. Well said. Excellent. I don't think that was very eloquently put.
Thank you.
Erin, did you have anything you wanted to close out with? Invite people to the rally today?
Yeah, actually, I was just hoping to read the comment that Taylor wrote, since it references Alex and it's kind of hard to read. So Taylor Chris wrote, well, and it's Jason and Alex, I should say. So it says, Jason, with a bunch of exclamation points. Jason has also helped promote and kick off my advocacy journey. Jason has been one of my biggest cheerleaders. It was because of Jason and Alex, I was able to share my lived experience of employment in front of people and building in my self-confidence and believing myself. Jason and Alex, I hope you know you both made an impact and difference on my life. Transportation is so important, and it can be a barrier. Thank you for advocating for that. And yeah, and I'll close by just saying thank you everyone for being here. Again, I know we all have the same mission in mind for folks with disabilities to live full lives, and I'm just really excited that we're all gathered here for that effort today. So pass it back to you, Kathy.
Janika and Taylor, I think there's a couple questions you want to call on people. And we have time for questions today.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good, smooth advocacy day. Thank you, Erin, for all your support. And by the way, with introducing people and also being their cheerleaders. Ella, did you have your hand up, Ella Fair?
You're on mute.
You're on mute. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for being here. I always enjoy these days. I would just like to make a comment. Everything has been great. I've enjoyed everybody, enjoyed talking about my son as well, everything. But I'm part of the African American support group with the ARC. And there's a new resource person, Khadija Tom. And I think it's very beneficial to have her invite our group into things like this. You talk about welcoming, being a welcoming community. So start looking inward at them, because welcoming has to be intentional, especially for African American groups. Other people too who are marginalized, but especially African American groups. I'll say it again. Welcoming has to be intentional. So if someone would speak to Khadija and tell her about these things and make sure she gets people on the emails, they will be there, because they talk about it a lot and I tell them things, but I'm not the leader of the group. I'm just the messenger for them. So like Margaret Lee and Joan O'Neill, Kathy, we go way back. So we've been here. So we know how this works. So, and then Miss Aiden, I know her from family at church. But anyway, we just reach within. And was it Chris who spearheaded the topics today? I'm sorry, I forgot his name.
Aaron.
Aaron.
Aaron. Eric. Thank you so much. I appreciate everything. I always learn something when I come to these days, and we'll just get better. We'll just get better. That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ella Fair. We appreciate that, and that's a really important reminder and things for us to think about. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a great comment, especially during Black History Month. Thank you for that comment, Ella Fair.
Excellent.
All right, I think I see another viewing party over at Cascade Connections. Welcome, Cascade Connections. Love all the viewing parties today. Thank you for
That's so
joining
cool.
us.
Are there questions for any of the speakers that maybe somebody has? Comments or questions for speakers?
This is a quiet group.
No.
Well, I can always talk, but I think all of our speakers did a job. Everybody, had told something that would tip for me. It was eye-opening, like this part about the transportation. I'm gonna get names wrong again. Jason. I mean, this is absolutely the truth. And that works for those who don't have disabilities. I see that problem. And with them, it's like, well, where do you start? Who do you call? And for me, I've been around a while, so I just start investigating and talk to folks and find out, well, do you know about this? Do you know about that? But somehow we just need to, I guess, hone on that a little bit more and get Metro and DART and all these people linked up to more things, more avenues for people to travel, because that's how we do get together. And I know there's a person at church whose son was at home. He used to go out, but now he doesn't. And mom says that he prefers to be at home. Well, as a former special ed teacher, I don't think that's true at all. I think he is stuck because it's too hard to get out there and do things. So we just have to work a little bit more on that transportation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ella Fair.
You're welcome.
Let's see. I think I saw Morningside Viewing Party's hand go up first.
Hi, this is Ivanova Smith, and I just want to make an announcement about 1541, the Nothing About Us Without Us Direct Lived Experience legislation. We really need everyone to just sign in pro. You don't need to testify. You can put in written testimony. Written testimony would be very helpful as well, but we need as many people as possible to just go to the Washington Gov website and sign in pro for 1541. We have some opposition and we really need to get our pro numbers up. There's some misinformation campaign through some organizations that don't like our bill. And so I'm trying to get as much support as possible. So if anyone who has not signed in pro yet, please just take a little bit of time out of your day today just to go to that website and just sign in pro for 1541 direct lived experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ivanova. That is very important. Last I checked, there were like 400 people who were signed in opposed. So please go in there and sign in pro, because we need the support on that. That's the Nothing About Us Without Us bill. So please go sign in on that. Thank you for that, Ivanova.
And for those who haven't signed in pro yet, I did put the sign in link in the chat.
Awesome. Let's see, Robert Wardell, you're up.
I was here's what I was people with the legislators and other people understand that people with disabilities are important because we need jobs, we need a lot of stuff, but then you got these paid lobbyists who like to tell them how they vote on issues. They don't know what we want. They haven't walked in our shoes before. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, Robert. All right, do we have any more questions, comments? I see folks in the chat are signing in. Signing in pro. All right, back over to Morningside Viewing Party.
I realized I forgot to announce that we have our rally today at 2 p.m. So it's our Employment for All Rally Day, and it's going to be on the north steps of the Capitol building at 2 o'clock. So we hope to see you all there.
Perfect. Thank you.
2 o'clock sounds good. Send me the link of the paper. I'm ready. Of the 2 p.m. I'm ready.
Antonio's ready.
I didn't sign up. Oops. I was really ready.
Great. Okay, well, any other last questions? Comments?
I have a comment.
Good, Courtney.
I do a lot for community inclusion. I'm at the church live for community engagement. And so mine is about community engagement and inclusion. I do social kind parks and rec and other activities in the community. And I just want to express that to everyone, that I do a lot in People's Push, Ally, Sale. So I really get around in the community.
Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. Courtney is definitely a leader in the advocacy community. She is active in a lot, and thank you for your service and all the hard work you do, Courtney.
Thanks, Tanika.
All right, any other comments, questions before we move on? Kathy goes over the bills.
No, no.
Okay. No comment from Antonio. All right, back to you, Kathy.
All righty, gotta get you going here. So good morning. Okay, and maybe somebody else has already said this, but
Excuse me.
Day, and I kept thinking about my daughter who has a job and she loves her job. And I thought, perfect, Valentine's Day. I love my job. She loves her job, right? I love my job. I thought that's a great message there. So let's talk. I think I actually wanted to share a little bit about bills first. So let me stop sharing. I shared the wrong thing first. Okay. So right now, yesterday was cut off for bills that needed to be what they call out of their house of origin. So if they were on the House side, they had to be out of the House, voted off the floor, and move over to the Senate side, and vice versa. If they were on the Senate side, they needed to be voted out and moved over to the House side. So there was a lot of stuff that happened yesterday. There was a lot of bills happening and a lot. So the past, like all through the weekend, they were voting things on the whole floor. There weren't hearings happening, just focusing on getting those bills out. So what that means is our bill list is shortened. Not as much as I thought, because there are some of our bills, quite a few of our bills that actually passed. So a couple things coming up. The other thing we're going to see coming this next week is we're going to start seeing budgets coming out. So the first one that's going to be coming out probably tomorrow is the Senate supplemental capital budget. So the capital budget is the budget that for money to build things and make things happen, right? So it's for physical things. And one of the things we're watching for on that is to whether or not they are setting aside any money specifically for housing for people with developmental disabilities. And we've heard that rumors that they there might be a nice amount of money for DD housing in the Senate budget. So watch for that. There's a hearing tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock if you're brave and want to sit through a lot of different people, but you can also just sign in and listen to all, because you're going to hear all the different categories that they have. But you could go in and either sign in pro, or if you see the DD housing money or some other project that's important to you. But that's tomorrow. And we should be seeing the other budgets in the next, week. The rest of them will come out. You'll see the regular operating budget first from the Senate, and the transportation budget from the Senate, and then we'll see the House budgets come out, follow shortly after. And speaking of housing, there are still the two housing bills are still in play there, because they're what's called necessary to implement the budget. That means because they're connected to, if they pass, they will produce revenue, money that they get to stay, they get to kind of pass over some of the rules and stay there till later along in the process. So we'll see how that goes. Some people may have seen interesting commercials on television against those bills. I think the ARC and some other places are trying to do a little social media campaign. So check out the ARC of Washington's Facebook page. You could copy and paste and share the information that's there. Let's see. So here are these nice bills. There's some bills that have passed. Employment standards for individual providers, that has passed. The individual provider that defines family, that bill it passed in the Senate, and the House bill died. We thought that initially that was just a bill that changed the definition of family. But we've learned since then, it was kind of tucked in at the end, that it also increased or put continuing ed training requirements for those folks. So if you have feelings about that and would like to, you might want to let your legislator know how you feel about additional training requirements for family members. Let's see, I'm going to skip a couple of these. Here's a bill that died. We were really sad to hear that the Medicaid waiver prioritization bill died. It may possibly could show up as a proviso later. We're not sure. Hold on, let me see if there's, okay, great. There was some crisis relief center, that bill passed. Care for medically complex children. It's really about coordination of care. That passed the House. It doesn't have a hearing yet in the Senate. You might want to watch for that. The genome sequencing bill died. I'm going to skip a couple of these. This is a good thing. The burden of proof. In fact, it had a hearing at 10:30 this morning, and that's where Stacy was for part of that. Burden of proof. It has passed out. Let's see, passed out of the Senate, is in the House, and hopefully it is moving along. And it already had a hearing on the House side, which is good. If that bill's important to you. Happily, the infants and toddlers bill passed the House, I believe, on Monday. So that was really exciting to see that. Now it's going to move over to the Senate. It doesn't have a hearing in the Senate yet, but I'm sure it will. This prototypical school staffing, that has money in it, would potentially help paraeducators for funding be paid better. It has a hearing today at 4 o'clock, or tomorrow at 4 o'clock. In appropriations. So that one is still moving. Its companion died. Let's see. The special ed cap passed, increasing the special education cap from 15% to 17%, 17.5%, I believe. Passed the House, doesn't have a hearing quite yet in the Senate, but that's important. The restraint and isolation bill made it through at the House yesterday. There was an amendment on that. You know, the hope is people aren't crazy about the amendment. They were happy that it passed, and they're hoping that as it comes over to the Senate, they can do more negotiating. From what I understand, there's, you know, it may be challenging in the Senate side, but we were happy to see it make a move. Special ed safety net bill passed and has a hearing today. It already had a hearing today at 10:30. And asked Congress to fund IDEA. That's like a joint resolution that they would send to Congress. It's just more symbolic than anything else. Stacy, are you here? Do you want to tell what happened today when you were watching that piece? Is she here? Okay, so I think she may not be here right now. So she told me, she texted me and said that Senator Kaufman took her daughter with her when they were doing that bill. So, and onto the House floor, her daughter with disabilities. So that was kind of cool. So we can thank Senator Kaufman for that. Hold on, I got it. Okay. And let's see. There's a couple of these bills. The service animal bill has passed. People are kind of keeping an eye. We're not so sure about that bill. Guardianship, it also passed. Okay, and I'm going to let Sean talk about nothing about us without us when it comes. But it has that hearing is Friday at 8 a.m. And that's the one that you saw in the chat box to sign into. So this voter education bill died. The system improvement bill that we're watching is still around. Adding a voting member to public transit board. We think that's really cool. That has passed the House and is moving over to Senate transportation. And we were so happy the preservation of records at RHCs, it passed the Senate kind of right before the cutoff. So we were really happy to see that happen, and hopefully that will continue going. So I'm gonna stop sharing and see if there's questions about any of those bills at this point in time. Eric.
Yes, just a few minutes ago, Kyle Matheson has been in the waiting room to join the Advocacy Day.
Actually,
Okay.
Eric, I'm finally here. Thank you, Eric. I'm here now. They got me in now.
Okay.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions about bills?
I think everything is good.
Ella Fair.
Excuse me. Once we leave this, this platform, I want to go to that Senate bill, House Bill 1541. I just go to, well, you have the link and all, but I mean, once we're out of this meeting.
So you know what's helpful is if you click on it, click on the link now, and it should open it up in your browser.
Okay.
And you know, and once it's in your browser, then you can go out, leave the meeting, and it should stay open in your browser.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Diana?
Hi, yes. We're over halfway through the session. Kathy, can you give people an idea of what they can expect to have happen in the next couple of weeks and what they should be doing?
Yeah. Excuse me, I have a little itchy in my throat. Yeah, well, first of all, we'll see the budgets come out, which is really important. And the other thing is what it's going to be fast and furious. So all those bills that are coming from one side to the other, it's like the session starts again at the beginning. They're going to start having hearings on those bills. So they have to go through the policy hearing, and the fiscal hearing. Hopefully, some of them get moved right over to the financial one, and then they skip the policy. But we'll see that happen again. So pay attention for bills you're following, and because there may come up for hearings quickly, so you can either sign on or testify in any way you can. And then we're going to start seeing the stuff around the budget, because that's the one thing the legislature has to do before they leave, is have a final budget. So watch for those, tell your legislators how you want them to spend their money, or spend your money, frankly, and where your priorities are. And we'll be looking for the budgets and putting out a side by side about what's in them as they come out. So just pay attention. There's some ways, I think Sean will show the video again about, you can sign up to get, if there's one bill that you're watching, you can sign up to have emails sent to you as it progresses through the progress. So, you'll get a note that says, this bill is up for a hearing on this date, or this bill is going to be on order of consideration. So that is one thing that you can do. Yeah.
If I can add to, if the bill no defendant raising means or health appropriations, because we only have a risk of fixing it, it's important for all of us to speak out. If it comes to all two committees.
Yeah, really important. Are there other questions about specific bills or anything? Okay, I'm going to show Sean's fabulous video. Y'all see that? Here we go.
Hi, I'm Sean Latham, the Policy Coordinator for Self-Advocates and Leadership.
And I'm Jessica Renner from Self-Advocates and Leadership.
We want to thank everyone for taking your time out today to join us for Advocacy Days. We're here to talk to you about how to become a trusted resource for legislators on issues that affect your life. Even though your elected officials represent you, they can't do this very well if they don't know what you want. We want to encourage you to contact your legislators throughout session, but especially this week, about the issues that matter to you.
That's right. With so many topics for legislators to learn about, your knowledge of developmental disabilities helps them to do their job. You are the expert in telling your story and how it relates to decisions they are making. Here are some tips to help you make the most impact. Your time with legislators, staff, or aides is short, and your message should be too. When you communicate, sum up what the issue is and why it's important to you. Have a specific request related to a bill or budget item. Attack the problem, not the person. Follow up with a thank you. By doing this, you greatly increase your credibility and strengthen your legislative relationships. Bottom line, stick to what you know, which is your life and how the issue affects you.
Here are some ways that you can reach out to your legislators. You can email them and their legislative assistant about your priorities.
To email your legislator, visit www.leg.wa.gov. From there, click on Communicate with a Legislator or participate in a committee hearing. Then, under Communicating with a Legislator, click Send an Email. From there, you can find and choose your representative. Click on their name, fill in your contact information, and send your message.
You can contact them through the legislative hotline phone number and ask to leave a message for them. We also encourage you to request either an in-person meeting with them or a meeting over Zoom or Microsoft Teams. Please reach out to the legislative assistant of the legislator to request a meeting. You can watch the legislature at work on TVW, either on your TV, if you have the channel, or online at tvw.org. Another way you can participate is by signing up to testify at legislative hearings. For each hearing, you can sign up for the individual bills as pro, meaning you are for the bill, con, meaning you are against the bill, or other if you have concerns with the bill you generally like. Please remember before you speak at a hearing, note what bill you are testifying about, and be sure you know what the focus of the bill is.
Let me now take you through the process using the Washington State Legislative website that can be found at leg.wi.gov. On the website under the section, Let Your Voice Be Heard, click on the button that has Participate in the Committee Hearing on it. From there under the Participating in a Community Hearing section, click on Testifying in a Committee Hearing. Next, choose if you testifying in a Senate hearing or House hearing. We all have the choice to testify in person, testify by video remotely, or we can submit written testimony or just state what our position is on the bill.
After you pick one of the options, you will be taken to the form to register. You will need to fill out your position, your name, your email, your address, your phone number, and your organization if you are representing one. It also asks you if you will testify on a panel or not. If you are testifying on a panel, it will ask you to fill in the names of the other panelists. The other box to make note of is the pronunciation box. If you want your name said right, you can sound it out in that box. Please also check the box "I'm not a robot" at the end of the form, and then it's time to hit submit registration. Once you submit your registration, you will receive an email from a committee staff email address. Please read this email carefully and add the meeting to your desired calendar using the links in the email. From there, make sure you are ready to testify.
Don't forget about social media. A lot of legislators have accounts on Facebook and Twitter where you can comment or watch live stream chats and virtual town halls.
It's so important to stay informed and involved. Participate in virtual advocacy days, sign up for the ARC of Washington's action alerts, get updates at arcwa.org, and follow on Facebook. Connect with local parent and self-advocate groups. For more information, check out the ARC of Washington's Hot Tips publication on our advocacy page, arcwa.org, available in English or Spanish. And remember, change is made by those who show up.
Oh, it's happy. So a little bit more.
Happy Advocacy Day, everyone. It's time to get at it once again today and advocate. As always, you can see what is happening on the House and Senate floors by visiting the legislative website at leg.wa.gov. You can also watch the floors in legislative hearings at tvw.org. If you happen to be close to Olympia today, please come down to the Capitol at 2 p.m. as the Community Employment Alliance will have their rally. So get ready to speak up and speak out. A little update on the Nothing About Us Without Us bill. Last week it passed the House, which is awesome. And it will now have a public hearing at 8 a.m. this Friday at the Senate State Government and Elections Committee. The coalition is working to get 3 panelists with diverse backgrounds to testify on this bill. Our own Yvonne Nova-Smith will be speaking for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Due to the committee's schedule, We are being asked to only have the panelist members chosen by the coalition to speak at the hearing. We are encouraging, though, everyone send in written testimony to the committee and also state your position for the record. I will put that link in the chat, but those of you in groups, just go to the legislative website, go to House Bill 1541 and click the testify button. Again, please do not sign up to testify verbally unless you are called on by the coalition to do so specifically. We also are unfortunately fighting a campaign by several outside groups who got their members to sign in to this bill. So we will be heavily doing a social media campaign over the next 2 days to counteract this. Please support this effort and share. Let's move now to our one-pager today. I'm sure you will all agree that we all want our communities to be welcoming for everyone. In order to have welcoming communities, people with intellectual and developmental disabilities must have full access to their communities. And their communities must meaningfully include them. People with IDD want to go to work and not just get one job, but have opportunities for careers. People with IDD want to hang out with their friends socially in the community. People with IDD want to go shopping, want to get their hair cut, and they want to the hundreds of other things all humans want. We must, as the one-pager states, create an inclusive community that benefits everyone, foster diversity, and enrich the lives of individuals with IDD. We have to invest in employment opportunities. We have to invest in programs like community inclusion and community engagement, and we want to invest in a transportation system that serves us all. So what should we be watching out for this session? One, fully fund capacity for employment and community inclusion. And number two, we need to invest in accessible transportation. Lastly, as our pager states at the end, together, let's build a community where every individual, regardless of ability, can thrive and contribute. For more information about these and other issues, I'm going to post this week's one-pager in the chat. Also, again, please see the ARC's bills of interests for additional information. Lastly, I want to encourage you to fill out our Advocacy Day survey. This helps us understand what you like and what you didn't like about Advocacy Day, so we can get better and better. You have the option of filling out the Zoom survey that you should see on the screen now, or alternatively, you can click on the links I posted in the chat. There will be an English and Spanish link. Let us know after if you need any assistance in filling out the survey. With that, I will just say thank you everyone for attending, and go advocate for your needs.
Happy YouTuber and everything.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you to all the speakers and viewing parties, and shout out to Aaron for bringing a bunch of employment folks together and rallying. For those who are going to the Capitol today to rally, have fun and get out there and talk to your legislators and advocate. Again, happy Valentine's Day, and what a great way to celebrating by advocating for our loved ones. Anything you'd like to add, Tanika, before we close here?
No, I think you wrapped it up great. Just thank you all for being here again. Good luck to the folks who are out meeting with legislators right now. Go get them. Talk to them about nothing about us without us, the importance of employment. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope you come back. Got a few more weeks left. And thank you to all who signed in pro and who plan to testify on Friday. Thank you again for being here, everybody. We appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for being here. And Kathy, do you have anything you'd like to add before we wrap up?
No, just be sure you fill out the survey, if either the poll that's right there on your screen, or the one that's in the link in the chat box. For those of you that had viewing parties, if I would appreciate it, I'm putting my email in the chat box right now. If you would email me the number of people that attended your viewing party so we can record that for future reference. Thank you all. And that was really fun to have all those viewing parties happening.
That was awesome.
Have a good